Hey guys, welcome back to Broken Journey the podcast. I am your host, Elba Rivera. Thank you so much for joining me today. The first episode of Hispanic Heritage Month is going to be today. And today we will be talking about Lieutenant Colonel Olga Custodio. And I'm just going to give you a little background of her early years, right? Olga was an army brat and was born in San Juan, Puerto Rico. But she grew up all around the world since her father was a sergeant in the army. And then at age 15, Olga and her family returned to Puerto Rico, where she graduated at the age of 16 and was immediately accepted into the University of Puerto Rico. And here is where she decided that she wanted to be in the military herself. So let me just tell you a little bit about her persistence, her passion, and her patience. And sometimes we don't realize when we are patient that things that is for us will come. It doesn't matter how hard things get, right? So, being a military brat, Olga she often traveled to different places. And seeing her dad was part of the factor of her joining the military. And again, like I just said, it wasn't easy for her. When Olga was 16, she went into the nearest ROTC office, which is the Reserves Officers Training Corps. So the recruiter never told her she wasn't allowed. And all he did was mention, they have a sorority here in the college if you want to join that. And she says, no, you don't understand. I want to wear that uniform. I want to be in ROTC. I don't want to be in a sorority. And there's nothing wrong with being a sorority. But being that she saw her dad, she wanted to do what her dad had done. And in the attempt to get rid of her, the recruiter gave her an entrance exam. He didn't give her any application. He didn't give her anything. Gave her the entrance exam. And once she finished the entrance exam, 3 weeks later, she went to follow up. And she's like, hey, what's going on? I'm trying to figure out, did I pass the test? Did I not pass the test? And he told her she didn't pass. And, she later found out that she passed the test. And not only did she pass the test, she had the highest score ever on that exam. But he didn't want to, tell her that she was not allowed. So the recruiter said, she failed rather than to tell her she was not allowed. Anyway, so Olga figured, what? I guess I won't be going into the military because, I can't pass the test. So Olga decided to, keep going on with her life. She got married. She had a baby. And then an opportunity came. Her husband was in the Air Force stationed in Panama, and she was with him working for the Department of Defense. And there is when she found out that the Air Force was having an open house. And so she decided to go. And when she looked, she saw on a table where a recruiter was that, there were pamphlets saying, that they were looking for military pilots and things like that. And so she went ahead and talked to the recruiter and she says, this is interesting. Are they hiring for pilots? He says, oh, yeah. The Air Force is currently hiring females to be pilots. And so she was like, really? She decided to go to a recruiting office. Now, mind you, in Panama, there wasn't an Air Force recruiting office. So she went into the Army recruiting office and, she spoke to the person. And, the guy told her, oh, yeah. She says, listen, I'm looking to join the military and I want to be a pilot. And so the guy said, oh, yeah, come in. And he started talking to her, and while they were discussing the information, she told him, I am married and I have a 3-year-old daughter. And at that point, he stood up, told her, okay, thank you very much. And he walked her to the door and he kicked her out of the recruiting office. Why? Because she had a daughter. And because he felt that her being a mom was going to interfere with her military career. And so when she was walking out, she told him, okay, I didn't want to join the army anyway. Talk about a fierce Puerto Rican, huh? Anyway, time was running out for Olga, because if you turned 26 years old, you were no longer able to join. And Olga was a few months from turning 26 years old. So she literally had to act fast and look for some way to get into the military if this is really what she wanted to do. And obviously this was her passion. So Olga met with a tech sergeant and she worked with him to help her join the Air Force. This person didn't even know how to recruit, but she told him, don't worry about it. I'm going to fill out this application and I'm going to tell you what to put and what not to put. And he told her, well, when you're filling out this application, it says you have to pick 3 choices of careers for the military. And she told him, well, all I want to be is a pilot. And he says, yeah, but it's saying you need to add 3 different jobs. And she says, okay, we're going to put pilot, pilot, pilot. She goes, because there's nothing else and there's nothing second that I want to do besides being a pilot. So her passion was to be a pilot. And guess what? The rest is history. Let me just tell you the achievements of Olga. Olga is the first Latina to complete U.S. Air Force undergrad pilot training. And not only is she the first Latina, she graduated in the top 5 of her class. Olga went on to fly numerous types of military crafts and become an instructor pilot. After transitioning from active duty to the U.S. Air Force Reserves, Olga continued breaking barriers by becoming the first American Airlines Latina commercial pilot, reaching the American rank at captain with a 20-year career. She retired from the Air Force Reserves with the advanced office rank of lieutenant colonel. Isn't that fabulous? And the Hispanic Heritage Foundation announced that Olga Custodio, the first Latina military pilot fighter qualified, a trailblazer in military and commercial aviation, will receive the 2022 STEM Award, which is the Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math Award, during their 35th Annual Hispanic Heritage Month Awards. How amazing is that? Her persistence, her passion, and her patience was all worth it. Let me just tell you that the annual Hispanic Heritage Awards will be Friday, September 30th, 2020 on PBS. So there's going to be a lot of other award winners there. And she is one of them. And I'm so glad that she is representing us Latinas. So guys, this is the end of episode 1. I hope that you enjoyed this information of Lieutenant Colonel Olga Custodio. And don't forget to come back next week for another trailblazer in the Hispanic community. And if you enjoyed this episode, please share it with others. I will greatly appreciate it. I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful day.